Hello. Welcome to another Wet Wednesday. This Wednesday we're gonna do something a little bit different. Good. Can you hear the game? There's like ominous music about. Excellent. So yeah, we're doing something different. This is Dagon. It is a Lovecraftian horror game. I know basically nothing else about it. So we're gonna start going and hopefully unraveling some eldritch lore. Oh god, I've actually read this story too. Oh.
I am writing this under an appreciable mental strain, since
by tonight I shall be no more. Ooh. What the? Oh. Interactive elements. Can you... Oh god. Historical background in the author. Some of the trivia is hidden. In order to find these secrets, focus your eyes and look at the Elder Sign. Or the Elder Sign. You can also access all found facts later. They will be available in main menu. Interesting. I actually didn't know Dagon had a sign. I knew Haster did.
penniless, and at the end of my supply of the drug which alone makes life endurable, I can bear the torture no longer, and shall cast myself from this garret window into the squalid street below.
I'm on the laudanum to keep my sanity.
Do not think from my slavery to morphine that I am a weakling or a degenerate.
Ooh.
When you have read these hastily scrawled pages, you may guess, though never fully realize, why it is that I must have forgetfulness or death.
Yeah, that is a big sort of question, is it worth not remembering things, but still living?
It was in one of the most open and least frequented parts of the broad Pacific that the packet of which I was supercargo fell a victim to the German sea raider.
Ooh. Well, now I don't want to click on like the obvious things, but because it's just gonna progress. Oh, there's the sign. Ooh. It was written around a month after the United States entered World War I. Lovecraft was actively interested in its course and composed many poems in which he gave encouragements to soldiers and commented on the events unfolding in Europe. He tried to enlist in the army, which he mentions in one of the letters he writes to Reinhard Kleiner. Some time ago, impressed by my entire uselessness in the world, I resolved to attempt enlistment. Despite my almost invalid condition, I argued that if I chose a regiment soon to depart for France, my sheer nervous force, which is not inconsiderable, might sustain me till a bullet or a piece of shrapnel could more conclusively and effectively dispose of me. Oh my gosh! But even though he passed the physical exam, his mother prevented him from going to the war. She has threatened to go to any length, legal or otherwise, if I do not reveal all the ills which unfit me for the army. I am Providence, the life and times of H.P. Lovecraft. Interesting! I didn't actually know that he tried to enlist. Hello, Wildfire. How are you?
The Great War was then at its very beginning, and the ocean forces of the Hun had not completely sunk to their later degradation.
Interesting.
So that our vessel was made a legitimate prize, whilst we of her crew were treated with all the fairness and consideration due us as naval prisoners.
Interesting. It is really weird having, like, limited, force upon the world. Ooh. The Huns were Central Asian nomads who established a dominion in Europe and invaded the Roman Empire in the 5th century AD. They were known as brutal, deadly warriors and masters of quick raids, who also developed powerful composite bows, lassos, and early siege weapons. During World War I, British used the word Hun as a synonym for Germans in order to emphasize their brutality. However, the term originated when the German Emperor Wilhelm II gave a speech to his troops before they embarked to China. Should you encounter the enemy, he will be defeated. No quarter will be given. Prisoners will not be taken. Whoever falls into your hands is forfeited. Just as thousands of years ago, the Huns under their King Attila made a name for themselves, one that even today makes them seem mighty in history and legend. May the name German be affirmed by you in such a way in China that no Chinese will ever again dare to look cross-eyed at a German. Oh my god. The refusal to take prisoner was a clear breach of the laws and customs of war adopted during the First Hague Convention of 1899. Interesting. I'm learning history, guys. In a Lovecraft game. I'm very confused. Is it going to tell me some facts about flour? I am getting that delicious knowledge. Will it give me facts about the sun? Probably not. Hello!
So liberal, indeed, was the discipline of our captors, that 5 days after we were taken, I managed to escape alone in a small boat with water and provisions for a good length of time.
Interesting. It's really weird having, like, a forced perspective like this, where I'm so limited in range. Ah, there it is. Just popping on. How is the stream?
When I finally found myself adrift and free, I had but little idea of my surroundings.
Ooh. Well, is that the sun or the moon rising? I'm assuming it's the moon.
Never a competent navigator, I could only guess vaguely by the sun and stars that I was somewhat south of the equator.
She's still streaming, but she's still talking to me. Interesting. This is a really pretty game.
Of the longitude, I knew nothing, and no island or coastline was in sight.
Well, eventually you'll probably maybe hit one. We are in the South Pacific, so... Sun. Or the moon. I have read this story, so I know it is the moon now. Can I investigate anything else? No. I don't think it's in everything, but I also don't want to miss anything.
And for uncounted days I drifted aimlessly beneath the scorching sun, waiting either for some passing ship or to be cast on the shores of some habitable land.
Interesting. Ah, my water skin.
But neither ship nor land appeared, and I began to despair in my solitude upon the heaving vastness of unbroken blue.
Well, I don't think there's going to be any secrets here. I'm just staring up at the sky. What a nice sun.
The change happened whilst I slept.
Oh, here's where the creepy part gets to.
Its details I shall never know.
Oof.
For my slumber, though troubled and dream-infested, was continuous.
Okay. This is a thing. I'm wiggling. You even got my boat. Just like seafloor and detritus. That's a really good model, though.
When at last I awoke, it was to discover myself half sucked into a slimy expanse of hellish black mire, which extended about me in monotonous undulations as far as I could see.
Ugh. Yeah, I'm feeling the
and in which
Lovecraftian
my boat
horror.
lay grounded some distance away.
I don't know how I didn't wake up when I apparently got thrown or knocked out of the boat, but...
Though one might well imagine that my first sensation would be of wonder at so prodigious and unexpected a transformation of scenery, I was in reality more horrified than astonished.
Yeah, I think I'd be horrified too. Like, the sea is gone. It's a desert of what looks like sea mud and slime, and there are cephalopods that have like crab legs and are seemingly still alive here as well.
For there was in the air and in the rotting
and a
soil,
rotting smell.
a sinister quality
the
which
smell of
chilled
rotting
me
fish,
to the
guys.
very
It's
core.
great. Good for the pores.
The region was putrid with the carcasses of decaying fish and of other, less describable things which I saw protruding from the nasty mud of the unending plain.
Yum.
Perhaps I should not hope to convey in mere words the unutterable hideousness that can dwell in absolute
What is attacking my
silence
boat?
and barren
Also, why is there,
immensity.
like, slime or web on the bow of my boat? Interesting. A very strange start to Wet Wednesdays.
There was nothing within hearing, and nothing in sight, save a vast reach of black slime. Yet the very completeness of the stillness and the homogeneity of the landscape oppressed me with a nauseating fear.
Is that a turbot? It is a turbot. What the hell is that? Well, this is weird.
The sun was blazing down from a sky which seemed to me almost black in its cloudless cruelty, as though reflecting the inky marsh beneath my feet.
I think I'm in purgatory, guys. I think I might just be in purgatory. Gotta look at my boat. Ugh. Squelchy sounds.
As I crawled into the stranded boat, I realized that only one theory could explain my position.
I want to know this theory. This seems very strange. Ew. Oh god. Oh, that's moving. Oh, that's creepy. That looks like a trilobite.
Through some unprecedented volcanic upheaval, A portion of the ocean floor must have been thrown to the surface.
Of course.
Exposing regions for which innumerable millions of years had lain hidden
much
under
more
unfathomable watery
interesting
depths.
and plausible than, you know, I'm in purgatory. Oh, it's breathing. Everything's wriggly. Ugh.
So great was the extent of the new land which had risen beneath me that I could not detect the faintest noise of the surging ocean, straining my ears as I might.
No, not if this is what Dante had to go with. I'm pretty sure Dante would have just gone into like shock and probably just like keel over and die. And I'm just imagining like a piece of land large enough that you can't hear the ocean. Like, that's a lot of land to be upheaved, and you not wake up from it.
Nor were there any seafowl to prey upon the dead things.
And no birds. That's even weirder. Because birds will do anything. They'll just eat anything at all. I've seen it. There's no sign over here, is there? No.
For several hours I sat thinking or
That is a
brooding
turbot.
in the boat, which lay upon its side and afforded a slight shade as the sun moved across the heavens.
That thing's getting bigger, I swear. Brooding in the boat. Love how there are so many cephalopods just wiggling.
As the day progressed, the ground lost some of its stickiness and seemed likely to dry sufficiently for traveling purposes in a short time.
This is very sparkly mud.
That night I slept but little, and the next day I made for myself a pack containing food and water, preparatory to an overland journey in search of the vanished sea and possible rescue.
How have these things survived and still be able to move after a day in the sun that's enough to actually, like, harden the earth? Or the mud? Guess I'm going on a journey. Going on a trip. Also, I'm amazed this thing hasn't attacked me yet.
On the third morning, I found the soil dry enough to walk upon with ease.
Now they're dead. Oh, this is so weird.
The odor of the fish was maddening, but I was too much concerned with graver things to mind so slight an evil, and set out boldly for an unknown goal.
This literally looks like a desert at this point. Jeez. Anything from the turbot or this thing?
All day I
Oh,
forged
what
steadily
the
westward,
fuck are these?
guided by a faraway hummock which rose higher than any other elevation on the rolling desert.
Oh, God. I don't like these. Oh, God. Oh, God. This can only end badly. Oh, that's a whale. Oh. Ugh. What the hell is this? I guess I'm going to the mountain.
That night,
Oh,
I
God.
encamped, and on the following day still travelled toward the hummock, though that object seemed scarcely nearer than when I had first espied it.
I don't know, I think it is decently close. It's closer than it was.
Nope.
Oh god, Paul's here! How you doing? Yes, this game is very much a nope. Oh god, what? The creator of the Cthulhu mythos in the fictional underwater city of Relay was convinced that life could not exist at the bottom of the ocean because the water pressure would make it uninhabitable. Today we know that the darkest depths of the ocean are home to many particular organisms. Me. And deepest dwelling fish we have discovered so far in the is the Mariana snailfish. It can live about 8,000 meters below the ocean surface. In never-ending darkness and at the hellish crushing pressures, hundreds of times stronger than those found at sea level. Upon glancing at the modern photos of deep-sea creatures, such as the anglerfish and the fangtooth, or the viperfish, and their truly Lovecraftian characteristics, it's not hard to find some irony in this. That's me every time I see any picture of a deep-sea creature, is just, yeah, that's where God puts his rough drafts.
By the fourth evening, I attained
What
the
a
base
lovely
of the
mountain.
mound, which turned out to be much higher than it had appeared from a distance.
Everything seems to be much higher, apparently.
An intervening valley setting it out in sharper relief from the general surface.
Oh great, I have to go down to come back up.
Too weary to ascend, I slept in the shadow of the hill.
Time for bed, guys.
I know not why my dreams were so wild that night.
Oh god.
But ere the waning and fantastically gibbous moon had risen far above the eastern plain,
Ooh. The gibbous moon.
I was awake in a cold perspiration,
Ooh, this is
determined to sleep
pretty.
no more. Such visions as I had experienced were too much for me to endure again.
Interesting.
And in the glow of the moon I saw how unwise I had been to travel by day.
You think traveling by night is going to be better?
Without the glare of the parching sun, my journey would have cost me less energy.
I know, but you don't know what's here. Rock. What a lovely mountain.
Indeed, I now felt quite able to perform the ascent which had deterred me at sunset.
Well, it's because you had a nap.
Picking up my pack, I started for the crest of the eminence.
God. That's the next thing. Is there anything interesting? No, just a rock.
I have said that the unbroken monotony of the rolling plain was a source of vague horror to me. But I think my horror was greater when I gained the summit of the mound and looked down the other side into an immeasurable pit or canyon, whose black recesses the moon had not yet soared high enough to illumine.
Jesus. Well, I'm literally gazing into the abyss.
I felt myself on the edge of the world,
Yeah.
peering over the rim into a fathomless chaos of eternal night.
And the void called, jump.
Through my terror ran curious reminiscences of Paradise Lost
Oh, there you go. There's the Dante reference.
and of Satan's hideous climb through the unfashioned realms of darkness. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, I began to see that the slopes of the valley were not quite so perpendicular as I had imagined.
Interesting. And I look at my feet. I don't have feet, guys.
Ledges and outcroppings of rock afforded fairly easy footholds for a descent.
Oh god. I do not like the locked perspective on this game. Ugh.
Whilst after a drop of only a few hundred feet, the declivity became very gradual.
Yeah, but how the hell am I supposed to get out once I get in? I don't think I want to go down there. Just rocket me into the void.
Urged on by an impulse which I cannot definitely analyze, I scrambled with difficulty down the rocks and stood on the gentler slope beneath.
Hey guys, it's a skyscraper, I think. Can't be bad. What's the worst thing a monolith has done?
Gazing into the Stygian deeps, where no light had yet penetrated. All at once, my attention was captured by a vast and singular object on the opposite slope, which rose steeply about 100 yards ahead of me. An object that gleamed whitely in the newly bestowed rays of the ascending moon.
Oh god. Will it give me a tooltip? No, it won't. Won't give me more knowledge.
That it was merely a gigantic piece of stone, I soon assured myself.
Ah, yes. A very particular shape for stone.
But I was conscious of a distinct impression that its contour and position were not altogether the work of nature. A closer scrutiny filled me with sensations I cannot express.
Oh god.
For despite
There's
its
no
enormous
knowledge.
magnitude and its position in an abyss which had yawned at the bottom of the sea since the world was young, I perceived beyond a doubt that the strange object was a well-shaped monolith,
Oh god.
whose massive bulk had known the workmanship and perhaps the worship of living and thinking creatures.
Ah, yes. All hail the rectangle.
Dazed and frightened, yet not without a certain thrill of the scientist's or archaeologist's delight, I examined my surroundings more closely.
Is there any knowledge? No knowledge for me. Into the unknown. Oh, there's water here.
Now near the zenith, shone weirdly and vividly above the towering steeps that hemmed in the
Oh
chasm.
god. It's got sea life on it. And whales? And mer people?
And revealed the fact that a far-flung body of water flowed at the bottom, winding out of sight in both directions and almost lapping my feet as I stood on the slope.
Interesting.
Across the chasm, the wavelets washed the base of the cyclopean monolith,
Jeez.
on whose surface I could now trace both inscriptions and crude sculptures.
And I'm assuming those are supposed to be faces. This is such a weird forced perspective thing.
The writing was in a system of
Ooh.
hieroglyphics unknown to me and unlike anything I'd ever seen in books.
Crocodiles and eels and... Oh, that's Cthulhu! It's my bro Cthulhu! And sea turtles and sharks and jellies. There's a conch.
Consisting for the most part of conventionalized aquatic symbols such as fishes, eels, octopi, crustaceans, mollusks, whales, and the like. Several characters obviously represented marine things which are unknown to the modern world.
Interesting. Oh, that's a lionfish.
But whose decomposing forms I had observed on the ocean-risen plain. It was the pictorial carving, however, that did most to hold me spellbound.
Dagon contains many themes and storytelling methods that Lovecraft developed in his later works, such as telling the story through carvings at the Mountains of Madness and the Nameless City, journals and character notes, Shadow Out of Time, The Hunter in the Dark, or Haunter in the Dark, Islands Emerging from the Ocean, Call of Cthulhu, classic, or fictional beings and deities based on real events and mythologies, Migo and the Whisperers of Darkness. It's also considered the origin of popular Cthulhu mythos. Some of Lovecraft's other stories also include in a manner similar to Dagon, but let's skip the details. No spoilers, guys. No spoilers.
Plainly visible across the intervening water on account of their enormous size were an array of bas-reliefs whose subjects would have excited the envy of a doré.
Like weird
I
tentacle
think that
people.
these things were supposed to depict men, at least a certain sort of men, though the creatures were shown disporting like fishes in the waters of some marine grotto.
Interesting.
Or paying
Fishy
homage
people.
at some monolithic shrine, which appeared to be under the waves as well.
It's a prediction.
Of their
Of me.
faces and forms I dare not speak in detail, for the mere remembrance makes me grow faint.
Weird fishy
Grotesque
people.
beyond the imagination of a Poe or a Bulwer.
Good. That one have 4 eyes? Ugh. Well, I'm not gonna say what that one looks like. Ugh.
They were damnably human in general outline, despite webbed
Face
hands
only a
and
mother
feet,
could love.
shockingly wide and flabby lips, glassy, bulging eyes, and other features less pleasant to recall.
He's definitely talking about the bottom one.
Curiously enough, they seem to have been chiseled badly out of proportion with their scenic background. For one of the creatures was shown in the act of killing a whale, represented as but little larger than himself.
Jesus. It's a big
I
Big
remarked,
eldritch deity.
as I say, their grotesqueness and strange size,
Oh god.
but in a moment decided that they were merely the imaginary gods of some primitive fishing or seafaring tribe. Some tribe whose last descendant had perished eras before the first ancestor of the Piltdown or Neanderthal man was born.
Jeez. Very nice pictures of whales, though. Oh, does that... Oh, it does count! Lovecraft would often use the latest scientific discoveries as his inspirations for his works. He would even update his stories at the last moment in order to make sure they reflected the latest breakthroughs. Unfortunately, this method was not without its flaws. After Lovecraft's death, the Piltdown Man discovery mentioned in Dagon turned out to be a fraud. Yep. In 1912, Charles Dawson, an amateur archaeologist, announced that he had discovered the missing link between ape and man, fossilized remains of a previously unknown early human. Years later, they turned out to be a forgery, but by that point, the fraud had already managed to negatively affect the early research on human evolution. In the year when the discovery took place, the majority of the scientific community believed Dawson indeed found the missing link. In 1953, Time magazine published evidence proving that Dawson was a con man, and it turned out that the fossil of the previously known early human consisted of a human skull and the jaw of an orangutan and chimpanzee teeth. But yeah, actual science fiction.
awestruck at this unexpected glimpse into a past beyond the conception of the most daring anthropologist.
Jeez.
I stood musing whilst the moon cast queer reflections on the silent channel before me.
I'm just waiting for something to come out of the muck.
Then, suddenly,
Oh god,
I saw
here it is! I spoke too soon!
With only a slight churning to mark its rise to the surface, the thing slid into view above the dark waters.
Oh god. Oh god. Is it just gonna ripple? Cool water physics though.
Loathsome.
Oh! Now you fucked
Oh
up!
god. Yeah, I fucked up. Oh god. Polyphemus-like and loathsome. Oh god.
About which it flung its gigantic scaly arms, while it bowed its hideous head and gave vent
Oh
to
god.
certain measured sounds.
Oh god.
I think I went mad then.
Oh god. Yeah. Yeah, it is really nice of him to stand still. That actually spooked me.
Of my frantic ascent of the slope and cliff, and of my delirious journey back to the stranded boat, I remember little.
Oh god. Ah! Is it following me? I can't even check. Tell me about the moon. Oh, great game.
I believe I sang a great deal, and laughed oddly when I was unable to sing.
Yeah, sounds about me in an awkward situation. To the horizon!
I have indistinct recollections of a great storm.
So I go back to the boat and I just sort of sit down and wait for my death. Well, at least everything's dead now. I don't have to worry about something grabbing me.
I heard pearls of thunder and other tones which nature utters only in
Fair.
her wildest moods.
Mother Nature, please get me out of here.
When I came out of the shadows,
God.
I was in a San Francisco hospital,
Oh, I thought that was the floor for a second.
brought thither by the captain of the American ship which had picked up my boat in mid-ocean.
Ooh, that was kind of spooky.
In my delirium, I had said much, but found that my words had been given scant attention.
They didn't want to listen to me because I said the truth. I spoke the truth. They animated flies in this game. Can I read that?
Of any land
No.
upheaval in the Pacific, my rescuers knew nothing.
I think I just had a brain injury. It's like Subnautica all over again. It's all a brain
Nor did I
injury
deem it
dream.
necessary to insist upon a thing which I knew they could not believe.
And that's when you start writing poetry. Aha! I can read it. Lovecraft was a prominent figure in the world of amateur journalism. In 1915, he started publishing his own journal called The Conservative. Yep. Which included political and social commentary, poetry, other short stories, and literary criticisms written by him and other authors. Howard was a skilled wordsmith, but he also took the criticisms to heart, which resulted in his decision to step away from writing poetry and concentrate on weird fiction again. For the first time since his teenage years, Dagon, published in 1919, is one of the short stories written during that period. In this excerpt from The Conservative, the master of horror fiction explained his attitude towards warfare and the idea of world peace. Why any sane human being can believe in the possibility of universal peace is more than the Conservative can fathom. Should the entire civilized world agree simultaneously to disarm, one or more nations would undoubtedly retain secret armaments and at the proper time take advantage of their more altruistic and less astute contemporaries in a wild career of conquest against unarmed victims. No country is or can ever be above warfare until the basic impulses of the human animal shall have miraculously changed. I kind of understand that, but it also sounds a lot like Freud. And I'm not a huge fan of Freud. Oh, there's one. Lovecraft considered himself an atheist and absolute materialist, which he attributed partially to his early childhood interest in astronomy and science in general. In his own words, "I am indeed an absolute materialist as far as actual belief goes, with not a shred of credence in any form of supernaturalism, religion, spiritualism, transcendentalism, oh my god, metempsychosis, or immortality. All I can say is that I think it is damned unlikely that anything like a central cosmic will, a spirit world, or an eternal survival of personality exist. They are the most preposterous and unjustified of all the guesses which can be made about the universe, and I am not enough of a hair-splitter to pretend that I don't regard them as errant and negligible moonshine." Interesting way to put that. In theory, I am an agnostic, but pending the appearance of radical evidence, I must be classed practically and provisionally as an atheist. I feel like now that I'm panicking, I might find more of those. Like a missing clock or something there. Oh, there's one. In 1921, Lovecraft released a series of 3 essays. The Defense Reopens, The Defense Remains Open, and Final Words. Later published as a collection titled In Defense of Dagon. I cannot speak today, chat. Which he rebuked a series of criticism directed towards his work. Some notable quotes. "I paint what I dream, and will let the public settle the rest amongst themselves." Mr. Munday asks the raison d'etre of Dagon. I will give it, purely and simply to reproduce a mood. Its object is the simplest in all art portrayal. The physical horrors of war, no matter how extreme and unprecedented, hardly have the bearing on the entirely different realm of the supernatural terror. Ghosts are still ghosts. The mind can get more thrills from unrealities than from realities. In the essay, Lovecraft touches upon topics of atheism, materialism, and the quest for truth and loves of science. Interesting. I feel like there's probably at least one more around here. In the bedpan? No. Maybe not. That might be it.
Once I sought out a celebrated ethnologist and amused him with peculiar questions regarding the ancient Philistine legend of Dagon, the fish god.
The fish god. Was an actual god. He just wasn't as fishy as Lovecraft made him. There he is. Fishy god. Dagon, or Dagon, was a main deity of the Philistines, worshipped throughout the Middle East as an ancient god of fertility and crops. In Hebrew, the word Dagon, I'm probably butchering that, was a common noun for grain. Interesting! Rulers of the Achaeid Mesopotamia chose him as the patron saint of their war conquest. He also appeared as the judge of the dead in an Assyrian poem, and in an underworld prison warder in one of the Babylonian texts. He's often mistakenly taken for a fish god due to the wrong interpretation of his name, as in Hebrew the word Dag means fish. In H.P. Lovecraft's work, Dagon is an underwater deity ruling over the Deep Ones, a humanoid race with fishy traits, and resides in the ocean. He is worshipped by a secret cult called the Esoteric Order of Dagon. He's also responsible for the fish people in Innsmouth. Those crazy fish people always looking to get some. I don't think I'm finding another one, am I? Woo! Am I drunk?
But soon
That was a
perceiving
very
that he was
tipsy
hopelessly conventional, I did
stand
not
up.
press my inquiries.
No, I'm going to press my inquiries. I have questions about this fish god that made me poop my pants. He's part of the cult. He knows it. Is this my study? Oh, there's one. Lovecraft's attempts to find a job in 1925 were influenced by advice he received from friends, among others, that he started freelancing for a marketing magazine where he would write announcements and commercials. Feel free to judge his copywriting skills for yourself. Oh god. From an ad for Curtis Woodwork. Curtis Woodwork embraces both the usual structural units and the cleverest contrivances of built-in or permanent furniture, such as bookcases, dressers, buffets. Is that buffets or buffets? And cupboards. Every model is conceived and created with the purest art, ripest scholarship, and mellowest craftsmanship, which energetic enterprise can command, and made to conform rigidly to the architecture of each particular type of home. The cost, considering the quality, is amazingly low, and a trademark on the individual piece prevents any substitution by careless contractors. It might work for the rich folk. I don't think it would work for your average Joe. August Derleth was an American writer and anthologist. He also befriended Lovecraft and published many of his works through his company, Arkham House. Although he greatly contributed to the popularization of the author's work after his death, he is surrounded by numerous controversies. One of the most questionable decisions involved introducing the good versus evil doctrine. Derleth was a devout Catholic to the Cthulhu mythos, which he contrasted with Lovecraft's view of the world and his approach to cosmic horror. As a result, the author's works are often misunderstood and misrepresented in today's culture. I do notice that. It is also worth noting that Lovecraft was never really interested in creating a mythology, and the term Cthulhu mythos was coined by Derleth after the author died. Yeah. The Necronomicon. Why do I have that book? If this is my office, why do I have that book? What the heck just happened? Okay, I can glitch that out, apparently. Yeah, just the Book of the Dead, it's fine. Maybe raise some deep ones or something. Oops. There's something in the glass panes of the window. I feel like I'm gonna turn around one of these times and there's just gonna be a jump scare waiting for me.
It is at night. especially when the moon is gibbous and waning, that I see the thing.
I see the thing. Julie, do the thing.
I tried morphine.
I'm on the drugs now, because I can't get the sight of Dagon out of my mind.
But the drug has given only transient surcease, and has drawn me into its clutches as a hopeless slave.
Very poetic.
So now, I am to end it all, having written a full account for the information or the contemptuous amusement of my fellow men.
I don't think that's an amusing story. It's not a story you tell at parties. Drugs? Lovecraft hated tobacco. Oh. Yeah, I guess it depends what party. Even though he used to smoke when he was 12, oh my god, in order to look and feel like an adult, in his correspondence with a friend, Reinhard Kleiner, he claims that he quit as soon as he started wearing long pants. You got your big boy pants, Lovecraft. Howard, you gotta put on your big pants now and stop smoking tobacco. God damn it. He also had a very strong opinion about alcohol, as evidenced in his letter to Zelia Brown in 1928. As for the matter of drinking, I have never tasted intoxicating liquor and never intended to, having a strong aesthetic disgust at anything which blunts or coarsens the delicate natural equipoise of the evolved human being, intellect and imagination. God, he was so pompous. Drinking excites my personal repugnance, hence I don't drink. Let the herd do what they will, I am rather in favor of prohibition. The prohibition of any one antisocial force as well as another. Interesting. Is there anything else? Oh, there's one. That's like barely noticeable. At another house where people were stirring, he asked questions about the gods and whether they danced often upon Lyrion. But the farmer and his wife would only make the elder sign and tell him the way to Nir and Ulfar. The Dream Quest of Unknowing Kadath. I actually haven't read Kadath yet. Yes, they were meant to be secrets. Elder Sign is a protective symbol that can be found in various works of pop culture, usually represented by a 5-pointed star with an eye flame symbol in its center. For example, in games inspired by H.P. Lovecraft writings, it is supposed to ward away all kinds of cosmic horrors. However, it is the latter version of the sign, created by the author's friend, writer August Derleth. In our game, we have used the original symbol as designed by Lovecraft in the form of a 6-pointed branch, which he sometimes included in the letters to his friends. That's a cool little nod. Just signing your name with like a symbol like that. What? I feel like I'm seeing something there that's not actually there. I've probably missed a lot of those.
Often, I ask myself if it could not all have been a pure phantasm.
I think you hit your head, dude.
A mere freak of fever, as I lay sun-stricken and raving in the open boat, after my escape from the German man of war.
It's entirely possible.
This I ask myself, but ever does there come before me a hideously vivid vision in reply. I cannot think of the deep sea without shuddering at the nameless things that may at this very moment be crawling and floundering on its slimy bed, worshipping their ancient stone idols and carving their own detestable likenesses on submarine obelisks of water-soaked granite.
Okay, that was pretty good.
I dream of a day when they may rise above the billows to drag down into their reeking talons the remnants of puny, war-exhausted mankind.
Well, we better stop warring because we have fish people to deal
Of a
with.
day when the land shall sink and the dark ocean shall ascend amidst universal pandemonium.
Oh god, that's a lot of them. Well, we're boned. I was not expecting them to be so big.
The end is near.
The end is nigh. Oh god. Oh, I don't like that. The fact that it sounds giant and it's also like squelching does not help me. Why did I bar the door?
I hear a noise at the door, as of some immense slippery body.
That would explain
lumbering
that.
against it.
Slippery. Ugh. Some slippery bodies. Can only end well. Can I jump out of the window? Of course I can't. Nothing on my chair. I also don't have legs. Or a torso, apparently. Also, why do I have a can of fish? Just sitting there in the corner. Nobody's home. Nobody's home.
It shall
Fine.
not find me.
That's why I'm going straight to the door. So it can't find me. Oh god. Oh god.
God!
Oh god!
That hand!
Oh no.
The window! The window!
What if I don't want to? I want to give him a hug. I wonder what happens if I just sit here. I don't think anything happens. Ooh. Oh, that's cool. That's a cool effect. To the window! That's pretty cool. Little pool of cosmic... That's super cool.